Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, Grammar State of Mind, where psychology meets politics and where we try to make sense of the stories that shape us as a nation. I'm Dr. Geoffrey Grammer, and today we're going to talk about something that sounds pretty absurd. Protesters in Portland who are wearing inflatable frog costumes and how, believe it or not, this might be one of the more psychologically sophisticated acts of resistance that we've seen. Here's what's happening. A movement has emerged in Portland where some protesters who are opposing the current administration and ICE tactics are showing up in streets, but they're not wearing black masks or combat boots, but instead brightly colored inflatable suits. And the most famous of these is the giant green frog. The administration has been calling protesters violent extremists, and yet the media, local officials can't seem to find any evidence of widespread violence or confirm this. So what's going on here? This is where psychology and the idea of projective identification come in. It's a concept from psychoanalytic theory. It was originally defined by Melanie Klein, and it describes a kind of unconscious emotional exchange. Here's how it works. Somebody, or in this case the Trump administration, projects a feeling or quality onto another person. They say, "You're the violent one. You're the threat." And sometimes the target of that projection, consciously or not, begins to identify with it. They take on that role and they act it out. Think of it like when someone says to a person in a group, "Hey, you're in charge." That person then identifies with their new role and it alters their behavior accordingly. But when this occurs in politics, it can sometimes be used as a psychological trap. Throughout history, we've seen examples of this where somebody labels a group as dangerous for long enough and they push them hard enough that some in that group will start to react with anger or aggression, thereby confirming the label that was given to them and justifying a crackdown or response. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy and it's engineered by projection. But here's where the frog comes in. When a protester shows up in a giant inflatable frog suit, wobbling down the street, its arms flapping, completely ridiculous and unserious, the whole mechanism breaks down. The humor is disarming. You can't project the term violent extremist onto somebody who looks like they just escaped from a kid's birthday party. The costume short circuits the narrative. It turns the fear into laughter. And laughter is usually psychologically incompatible with terror. The frog becomes the trickster archetype, a chaotic, playful figure that exposes the absurdity of those in power, and it blocks the dangerous loop of projective identification. The protester refuses the projection, but not by denying it, but by making it ridiculous, by transforming the aggression into a parody, thereby staying emotionally free from being identified as violent or having that identity forced upon them. So what we're witnessing isn't just a political theater, but it's emotional aikido. It's resistance through play. So humor is one of the more mature psychological defenses. Freud called it a way of asserting the ego's invulnerability, of saying, "You can't make me afraid." When an authoritarian narrative depends upon fear and polarization, laughter becomes an act of liberation. So the next time you see that inflatable frog bobbing through the crowd, remember, you're not just looking at a funny protest gimmick. You're looking at a psychological shield, a refusal to become what the other side imagines that person to be. It's resistance without rage, courage without any cruelty. And it might just be one of the healthier responses to the collective projection that we're seeing out of the Trump administration. Thanks for joining me. If you found this conversation thought-provoking, please subscribe and share it, because understanding the psychology behind our politics isn't just about insight, it's about inoculation. So until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep your sense of humor.